Welcome to Unfiltered Three, spilling the tea with
Cece,
Autumn,
and Brie.
Hi, friends. How are you today? We are doing a Christmas-themed Am I the Asshole? So I have to be like, are you the asshole? Are we assholes? Are they assholes?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of conversations to be had when it comes to holiday stuff. And
oh God, yeah.
So
Yeah.
we already picked out some stories.
We did. We have a couple. Yeah. Who wants to go first?
Cece?
All right. Now, I didn't read the whole thing, so I'm also going to have fresh eyes as we decide, is this person a butthole? So the title is, Am I an Asshole for Being Upset About My Lack of Christmas Gifts? I, 17 male, wanted a PS5. I repeatedly told my parents I wanted a PS5. My mom said they were hard to come by and asked what else I'd like. I said nothing. If I couldn't get a PS5, then don't bother with anything else. That's the only thing I truly wanted. I may have been a little too insistent about it. Come Christmas morning, there's nothing for me but my favorite candy and a winter coat. I didn't understand and asked why I only got candy and a coat. My dad said I told them I didn't want anything else if they couldn't get me a PS5, so they didn't get me anything except the coat because I needed it, and my mom added in the candy. I got upset and asked why they wouldn't have at least tried to get me something I might want. My dad said because I was becoming a spoiled brat. I disagreed, but my dad said I obviously don't hear how I talk to people, that I'm coming across more and more bratty, and that I'm not owned anything. Lots of people wanted PS5s or Xboxes, and a lot of them didn't get it. He said he could understand being mildly disappointed in not getting what I wanted. I told my dad he was being an asshole to me, and I was just disappointed they didn't get me anything good. He said he didn't care if I was disappointed. He was disappointed in me for how materialistic I was being. When my brother, 20 male, called to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, I told him what happened, and he actually laughed and said it sounded like Dad was teaching me a lesson, and that I must have been acting like a real asshole for him to do that. I didn't see how I'm the asshole for being disappointed. I didn't get anything for Christmas, but my dad and brother are in agreement that I am the asshole. My brother suggested I post here. What are our thoughts on this?
Both, in a way.
Yeah.
But then again, that's a hard one.
There is
It's both for different reasons.
Yes.
Right. Because, yes, did he have a sense of entitlement with a PS5? Probably not, with the full understanding being like, I understand he's 17, but you're still so young mentally at 17.
Mm-hmm.
So he probably doesn't understand the full scope of how expensive a PS5 is and everything that goes into Christmas buying and having multiple siblings and stuff of that sort. And he honestly was probably saying, like, I just want a PS5, don't bother with anything else, because he wanted them to get the PS5. Like, I know I've said that before, like, oh, well, don't worry about anything else. I really want this. So, like, put all your money into this. Mm-hmm. But I feel like as a parent, there are other ways to go about it than just getting them nothing and then calling them assholes and calling them names. Because to me, you just negated the lesson that you're trying to teach them with those actions. I could have seen them maybe saying, hey, we couldn't get you a PS5. You really wanted a PS5. Here's X amount of money that we can afford to put towards it. You now have to work to get the rest.
I think that would have been a healthier way to do.
Yeah, and then he
make the lesson
to earn it. And then also just giving him like a better understanding, like a teaching moment of how to talk to people when you want something. But the whole like calling them bratty and spoiled and self-entitled, and I just, it just comes back to like when you point one finger at someone, you're pointing three back at yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I was all for like the kid is an asshole until the parent part. And I was like, oh, no.
No.
I feel like he was trying to be as direct as possible. And in his young age, maybe he doesn't know how to say it so healthily. Like how you said it. Listen, if you can't afford or if you can't.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the way to express it. So you should be teaching him that lesson.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, a conversation definitely should have been had before Christmas, outside of like just asking them again of like, what else do you want? Okay, nothing. Okay, then I guess we're going to get him nothing. Like having that conversation, like you said. If they were older and it was like a little bit of a different situation, he's not under their guardianship really.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it as like enforcing of like, okay, you set this boundary, then we can't get that, then okay,
yeah,
we're not going to get anything else. But he's 17, he's still a kid, you're still teaching them those lessons.
Right. And in his mind, when he said, I don't want anything, he probably didn't actually fathom that they would get him nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Like that wasn't an actual idea in his head. He was just like, oh, these are the words I'm going to use to try and push what I want. And it's just like, yeah, I don't know. Definitely a conversation. Like I grew up in a family that was super poor, and my mom would just straight up be like, I can't afford that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't afford that. I'm not going to be able to get you that. What do you want that I can't afford? And I would be like, okay. Or she'd be like, I can get you that. That'll be the only thing you have for your birthday and Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I can put a portion towards it. Like, it's just not treating your children as something you own and treating them like human beings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So both. You're both assholes.
Little bit of both assholes.
The parent more than the child.
Yeah. I mean, there's also, considering the fact that it's at this point, there's obviously history.
Oh, yeah.
And how that relationship has been.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, both. All right. So what's our next story?
Am I the asshole for wanting to stay home for Christmas and not compromise? So me and my boyfriend just had a baby on October 20th. He is a month old. He has sickle cell. This is our first child. I was very outspoken during my pregnancy about not having visitors come and have my child around a lot of people. I also didn't allow for people to touch my stomach at all either, only my boyfriend could. My son was in the NICU for a week because he had jaundice as well as TTN, so that made me even more concerned with a lot of people being around. So my boyfriend was very understanding, or so he led me to believe, and he agreed as well that we would limit the amount of visitors. Even my mom and my side of the family definitely understood. My son was discharged on a Friday, and my boyfriend's mom on Thursday was already trying to make plans to come down and see him when we had already agreed that we would not have visitors. Nor did we even know if he was coming home, we just guessed and hoped. I expressed to my boyfriend that we needed bonding time and to get acclimated to being at home because we have already lost a week from his PTO that he had to take, so we only had 2 weeks to get acclimated to our life at home, and I wasn't having visitors. Not even my mom can come visit. I told my boyfriend that she needed to wait because we haven't made it home, nor have we known that if he was coming home and she was already trying to make plans to drive down to see. Mind you, during my pregnancy and our relationship since December 20th of 2021, I have made a point for my boyfriend and my mom to create a bond and get to know each other where it has not been reciprocated on the other side for me and his mother. I have made it my concerns knowing numerous times about how I felt even after we announced still nothing. After 2 weeks of his mom asking every week if she can come, I finally caved and said yes. That she can come and see and meet him even though I was still keen on not having visitors. That was the first compromise. We only agreed that since his mom was going to come down, that we weren't going to go to Thanksgiving holiday because it was too many people and I didn't want him to get sick or put him at risk. He talked about this numerous times, maybe 3 to 5 times, and every time we agreed that we would not be going to Thanksgiving dinner with him the day before Thanksgiving. He asked if we can come and that he made a plan for us to be secluded if need be. That way we don't have to be around the people that were there, and he wanted his family to see his son, and it was very important to him. This was after we had talked about the 45 times that he stated that his family can wait because his mom saw his son, and that's all he needed at the time. The rest can see him on FaceTime. I was upset because now this was the second time that he was going back on something we agreed not to do, but I reluctantly went to Thanksgiving dinner with him. He requested that his mom and his grandma be able to hold the baby, but nobody else be able to. He just wanted them to see the baby. I was skeptical because he just kept going back on things we agreed on. After allowing his mom to come down to visit our son, we all agree that his family can come down in small increments over time if we don't attend Thanksgiving and Christmas like they came down when we... After allowing his mom to come down to visit our son, we all agreed that his family can come down in small increments over time if we don't attend Thanksgiving and Christmas. It's like repeating itself. I'm just going to surmise that they can't come down, or they're going to come down in increments because they're not going to Thanksgiving and Christmas. That way they can come down and they can see the baby, and that way we can monitor if he gets sick or not and pinpoint where it comes from. We are at the function and his grandma comes in from smoking cigarettes and requests that she hold the baby because we are about to leave, and I asked her if she had just finished smoking, and she said yes, and I requested that you please change her shirt before holding him. She was upset and stated that she did not smell like smoke because she was outside smoking, but reluctantly ended up changing her shirt. She went into the room after she changed to allow her to hold my son because the family was being loud and he was still sleeping. She also got upset about that and was like, I have to hold him in here. And I explained to her that he was still sleeping and that they were being too loud. I passed him off to her to hold him, and she walks around the bed to go sit down, ends up tripping and falling on top of him, and I hear a loud thud. I immediately ask if she's okay while going to collect my child. I console him, and she gets mad and states she's okay, the baby's fine, he's okay, give me back the baby. And then I told her no, so I am the asshole for not wanting to officially go to Christmas. Christmas is a big deal, and that is the one time of year that his mom has to have the family together. Side note, the whole time that we have had our son for the month, it seems that my boyfriend is more loose with everything than concerned he wasn't. He didn't show any concern. He stayed at the Thanksgiving function, and I left to go home to be with my son because we weren't supposed to be there in the first place. We ended up compromising.
Obviously, she's really upset, and she has every right to be.
Yeah. This is honestly something that's just too true, too relatable for too many people.
Mm-hmm.
And it really...
The entitlement when it comes to like someone else's baby, that's not yours. She's a new mother. She's just been through all this, very concerned for her child. Like, have some respect. That's all I keep thinking.
She's in postpartum, right? Having a baby right around the holiday season, right, going into sick season, and then on top of that, he was in the NICU. He has these other medical issues that they have higher concern about. Every right to protect his health and well-being. And I just feel the most sorry for the fact that she doesn't have a supportive husband or boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because she gave in to one boundary, and then they were like, okay, we can keep pushing this boundary and walk over it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, I hate hearing stories like that, because it's just like, why would you do that to them? Like, just respect them, give them the care and that they deserve. She's in her 4th trimester, as I also hear postpartum.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she knows what's best. But then on the other side of that, I have to say, like, there's no fault to her for, giving into those compromises, because she's doing the best that she can with the tools that she has in the environment that she's in.
Yeah.
So I don't give her any fault for that. But no, she is absolutely not the asshole.
Mm-hmm.
No, they're definitely assholes. Just the persistence.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we didn't just tell you once. We told you like numerous times, like numerous weeks, to ask every week after they told you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
I can't imagine being in her shoes. It's got to be tough, because you think your man is going to be just as protective as you are over your child. And then when they make choices, I'm sure they're making the best that they know how in those moments, but they're not, they're just not putting it all together.
They don't take on the mental load that the mother is.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's explained it to him. I obviously can't, I don't know in this situation in particular, but I've heard and read a lot of other stories in similar situations, and they just don't hear it. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to put in that effort as much. They have a baby. Oh, I just have this great relationship with my mom. She just wants to do this. It's not that big a deal.
Mhm.
Yeah, but it's not your mom's baby.
Right.
Mhm.
Like, it might be your mom's grandchild, but it's not your mom's baby. And she doesn't, like, there's no entitlement there. Like, you don't, it's not a, I deserve to be there. Like, no, you don't.
Mhm.
You do not. That's a privilege.
Yeah, she had her child. Her
Exactly.
children.
And that can be revoked.
Mhm.
Your privilege can be revoked. Now, I understand grandparents do have rights.
In
I'm
some
not saying,
states.
yeah, I'm not saying that they shouldn't, but there's a way to go about things. There's a way to just have respect.
Well, there's some time for that.
And
You're
there's
not going to
also,
not
like,
get that time.
Maybe if you just fucking respected her boundaries and supported her, you would have actually seen the baby faster, because she would have been like, okay, you are someone that I can trust.
Yeah.
I can know that, or I can trust that if you are sick, you're not going to come over.
Mhm.
Or if you've been around someone that's sick, you're not going to come over. Or if you come over, you're going to wash your hands before you touch the baby, or you're not going to kiss the baby, or you're going to come over and you're going to keep your distance from the baby, but you're going to be able to see him. But you're constantly poking those boundaries. So, like, I don't trust you at all.
Yeah. Plus, she said something along the lines of like wanting to build that relationship with her before she even announced
Yeah.
and during the pregnancy. And like having relationships with the person who is pregnant during the pregnancy is huge.
Mhm.
Because if they treat you disrespect or don't actually care anything about you, and then all of a sudden you have a baby and, oh, let me come over, let me do this, let me do that. They only care about the baby.
Yeah.
Like,
Not the mother.
Yeah. That's
Yep.
not okay.
Nope.
Blatant assholes.
Yes.
Blatant, disrespectful buttheads. Assheads. Asshats.
There we go.
So the next one is, am I the asshole for breaking up with my ex over text on Christmas Eve?
Mm.
This story takes place about 5 years ago. I'm happily about to get married to my fiance, not the same man. And I've done a lot of reflecting the past month. And I feel like I want to share this story and ask, am I the asshole? I met my ex at work back in the fall of 2014. He was a good enough looking guy and he was charming. We were together for 3 years. He was sweet and charming at first, and then his mental illness set in and his narcissistic tendencies appeared. The first time he cheated on me was in 2016. I didn't think much of his new friend, quote unquote, until he started acting weird. Finally, I saw a text on his phone, and this girl was bad-mouthing me, and he was agreeing. I should have left his sorry ass then, but I didn't. I was young and didn't know any better. He finally, quote, couldn't take it anymore and apologized. I genuinely feel like he was truly sorry. He used to talk to me while he thought I was asleep and say how sorry he was. I guess it used to keep him up at night. After that, we didn't have any more cheating issues that I know of until 2018, the year of mega cheating. I don't know when it started, and I don't want to write it all down, but he cheated on me 7 times that year with 7 different women that I knew of. And every time that he'd love bomb me and gaslight me until I got back together with him. Throughout that entire relationship, he beat out the sweet, carefree, kind woman I used to be and molded a quiet, shy, obedient, and isolated woman he wanted. He also has DID and would abuse me during these episodes. I can describe this more if people want. So now we're in
What's DID?
dissociative identity disorder.
Okay, thank you.
So now we're in December of 2018. He was seeing a new girl behind my back. Finally, his stepmom had enough and messaged me about it. She told me he had gotten this girl a really nice Christmas gift. The kicker? He told me he didn't have enough money to get me anything for Christmas. That was my final straw. He simply just didn't care about me, and his actions proved that. So I decided to hit it where it hurt. I dumped him over text on Christmas Eve. He never normally came to my parents' house for Christmas Eve because his family had a get-together at the same time. That night, I gathered my most precious items and left. I thought long and hard about what I was going to say when he would eventually text me, and when he finally asked when I was coming home, I said I wasn't. He asked why, and I replied, because I don't want to spend Christmas with my ex. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
He lost his mind. I had never broken up with him. It was always him dumping me. He called me a whore and ungrateful, and that I was a horrible person for dumping him on Christmas. But it had to be this way. If I did it in person, he'd con his way back in, and I wasn't strong enough at that point. And that's it. He and I only spoke briefly about me gathering my things. I guess he figured he had another girl to fall back on once I left. Joke's on him, that girl dumped him when she found out he was cheating on me. So Reddit, am I the asshole?
No, not at all.
No.
I actually love this woman a little bit because good. He
Yeah.
got what he deserved. And more karma will find him.
Yeah, I mean, it's typical that those relationships are as long as they were. I didn't add up all the years together that they were together.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's if he has narcissistic tendencies, he obviously was mentally, emotionally abusive to her, cheating on her, doing the whole love bombing, gaslighting cycle. The fact that, she was able to leave and that she did it in such, I love the sass that she did it with. I mean, she was obviously safe. She wasn't in his presence. She was with family at home. Good for her.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad she got out of that and that she seems to be happy with another person now.
Mm-hmm. I relate to that story so hard.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, ooh, did I type this? Yeah, that's more power to you, girl. Definitely not the asshole. Fuck him. Especially when you were like 7 times. It's like, yeah, I know how that feels. I just don't actually know the number. Pretty sure it's more than it fits on 2 hands, though. Yeah, love bombing and gaslighting that's a real thing. That's a real hard thing.
Oh yeah, I mean the love bombing becomes addictive because it's like, oh, he can be so sweet and charming, and he can give me that love, and like
it's what you want all the time. So when you do get it, you're like, oh, I'm gonna savor this, and then it
makes you melt. It did for me. Too relatable.
Yeah.
Yep. I think we're going to end on this last Am I the Asshole for refusing to go to my son and daughter-in-law's house for Christmas. I've never used Reddit before and don't really know how this works, but my son wanted me to post here and get an unbiased opinion. My son got married a few years ago and they had their first child 9 months ago. I usually have people over to my house for Christmas, and my son said since they now have a baby, they will not be traveling anywhere on Christmas Day. That's fine, and I told him to have a nice Christmas. He invited me over, and I politely declined. I don't want to go to anyone's house on Christmas, which is why I fully respect them not wanting to come here. And she is inviting her family, and I don't want to have a big holiday with people I don't know well. Also, I want to invite certain people to my house who they do not know. My son snapped at me that was selfish, and it's his wife's turn to host. I said, we don't need to take turns. We can both do it every year since I'm not demanding they come to my house and they can't force me to go to theirs. We ended the conversation okay, but he called me again and said certain family members won't go if I don't want to go, so I have to come. Honestly, I don't believe that. I believe they told him that, but I think it was just an excuse. He wants his cousins there, but I feel that my sister feels like I do, that why should we have to give up our holiday plans just because he wants to try something new? I told him I just really don't want to come. I want to be home with my husband and eat what I want. I don't like people, and he knows that. He got very angry and said no normal person would do this to their child. I even offered a compromise. I will lie to my sister and say we really aren't doing anything for Christmas and not to expect a big meal. If she still doesn't want to go to his house, I think that proves she is lying. Sibling manipulation there. My son thinks I am an asshole because I'm not willing to sacrifice this for him. I think he's being a controlling asshole, and while he and his wife have the right to do whatever they would like, they do not get to force that on me. Honestly, I don't see myself changing my plans, but he made me promise I would read the responses and get an unbiased opinion. Also, someone said to add an edit that my mother-in-law, who doesn't know my son well, comes over on Christmas and I don't want to abandon her.
I think she's perfectly reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's some good, healthy boundaries.
Mm-hmm. I think there could be like compromises in other ways if like you still want to be able to have Christmas with both, so host on another day.
That's what I was
You
thinking.
know what I mean? Like have your Christmas at home with your baby on Christmas, and then you want to still get together with your mom and your cousins and stuff, do that another day. Like plan something else.
Yeah, but not expecting her to move for Christmas because it sounds like
Right.
she still wants to have her
Right.
normal Christmas.
Like people don't have
traditions.
to change their traditions because
Yeah.
you want to start a new tradition.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's okay. And maybe by respecting their boundaries, you know, this year, and, you know, you're able to get your families, like maybe 10 years from now, that'll change. But it's just like respect people's boundaries when they make them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then you'll find that maybe things will change as they naturally do later on in life. But yeah, I think that was, I don't know, that was a lot of entitlement on the child's part.
Yeah. It's interesting to hear the boundary of like, we're going to host Christmas. We're not going to go to yours anymore, but then expect
Them to
Th-
just
them to
upend.
change.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. No.
And the manipulation with the kids. Like
Yeah.
that was pushing buttons for me because my family does a little bit of that where it's mostly like, oh, telling one sibling one thing, telling another something else because we don't want to hurt feelings. But it's like people need to be honest, and then people need to respect boundaries. It's not a difficult concept.
That was her to her sister, so that her sister and her kids would go to her sons. That wasn't their children. Unless I
The mom's
misunderstood.
children were conspiring to get her to go, is what I was hearing.
Oh.
Was I wrong?
I don't know. I'd have
now
to
I don't
reread it.
know.
I thought it was he wanted his cousins there. So her sister said no, she wasn't going because his mom wasn't going. And so she was like, I'll even tell her that I'm not having Christmas. And then that way she goes to your house, is what I thought. I thought it was like
to
her
see
sister.
if she's lying or not.
Yeah. I didn't think it was her children.
Yeah. I mean, that's still
It's still manipulation.
Yeah, but there's also like the guilt tripping of like, there's people that's not going to come to our house if you're not going to be there. That's not her responsibility.
No.
Mhm.
No.
You can't put that on her.
Mm-mm.
Guilt tripping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. a little of that too.
But yeah, I think there's always compromise in there, and just knowing that. I mean, like Derek and I had to do it for our first Christmas together. Like for our first Christmas, we tried to do everything all in one day. And then we were like, fuck that. Well, I said, fuck that. And now we have like a separate Christmas in January with his mom where we're able to have more intimate, like one-on-one intentional time.
Mm-hmm.
And we do my Christmas with my family on Christmas Day. And it works. It works out for us. That's not going to work for everyone, but like it's just like there are compromises out there. It doesn't have to be, well, we want to host, so everyone that you have has to come to us and you can't host.
Yeah.
Like that's not how that went.
Dude, multiple Christmases sounds great.
Or like switch on and off each year on what you do. Like maybe one Christmas you go to your mom's and then the next Christmas you host for her family.
Yeah.
You know, like there's compromises that you can do and still respect her boundaries and make it work.
And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. You don't force each other into doing something you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, if you have any Am I the Asshole stories, please do share them with us. You can just share them and we don't have to read them here. And we can let you know our advice and our thoughts if you like, or just send any that you've read and you want to talk about, you want us to talk about. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah. And I hope you all have a stress-free Christmas with no assholes.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of Unfiltered 3. Remember, we release new episodes every Monday, but if that's not enough, connect with us on our socials at Unfiltered 3, where we can uplift, inspire, and embark on this journey together. Thank you for listening and for being a part of our community. Until next time, take care and keep shining your authentic light. Bye, guys.
Bye.